It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's sourdough. Hey, it's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Breaking Bread with Tom Papa. I am Tom Papa, and you are listening to our wonderful podcast. And today, I love this one. We bring in Alonzo Bodden, very funny comedian, good friend of the show. He was, I think, our very first broadcast. Alonzo is great. I love him to death, and it's always great to have him come and sit at the table and catch up. It's a great conversation that you are going to very much enjoy. I'd also like to thank Aura Podcast for joining and sponsoring today's program. Aura, do you know your personal info is out there for anyone to find? Data brokers scrape public tax records and sell that information legally, making it accessible to anyone. For a limited time, Aura is offering our listeners a 14-day trial plus a check of your data to see if your personal information has been leaked online, all for free. When you visit aura.com/papa, P-A-P-A. That's aura.com/papa to sign up for a 14-day free trial and start protecting you and your loved ones. Scary stuff. Aura's there to help. Okay, so I just had a great weekend. I was just in New York City where I did, well, first I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where people really turned out. It was slow going in the beginning. I was like, why is Scranton not selling out like all the rest of the beautiful shows on tour? And it turned out that we were in Scranton in their biggest weekend of the year, which is their St. Patrick's Day parade. It's like the fifth biggest one in the country. They do it the week before St. Patrick's Day, and the place goes bonkers. The whole city shuts down. They told me, I was there on the Friday and the parade was on the next day. They told me that if I don't get out of the hotel by 7 in the morning, that you'd have to stay. There's no getting out until that night because the whole city is going to be shut down and you're not going to be able to drive through what I can only imagine is a lot of throw up. So the people in Scranton, so it was slow going in the beginning. I was like, I don't know if we're going to be able to compete with the parade, but it ended up a huge show at this beautiful theater, and everybody showed up, and it was great. And then my buddy Mike Fenoya was opening for me, and he was my trusty sidekick to get out of Scranton. We drove through a snowstorm over the mountains and through the woods to New York City, where I was lucky enough to meet up with my wife who flew in. It was our 23rd wedding anniversary. It's so crazy. Our anniversary is on March 11th, which is also now the anniversary of when the world shut down from COVID. March 11th was the day that everything shut down, when Tom Hanks got COVID and the NBA shut down. So now we have it's almost like another 9/11. Oh, that's kind of weird. March 11, 9/11. Conspiracy theorists will love that connection. So anyway, I flew to New York and we got to celebrate our anniversary on the same night that I played Town Hall, which is this great theater in New York City where I used to do Live from Here, the old Prairie Home Companion show. We used to do it there all the time. And it was the first time I got to go on my own and do my own show there and do stand-up. And it was a really nice milestone. It was this very cool thing to be able to come into New York. It's, I don't know, 1,400 seats, all sold out. I got all my good friends from every walk of life, you know, little people from school, people from comedy, people from my life, just showing up at the theater. And, you know, these are people that saw me do stand-up in front of 3 people a night for years when I was starting out in New York. So then to come back all these years later and do Town Hall and have it sell out and have this be modestly say a really great show, you know, the audience is a big part of it, so that's why I don't feel too egotistical about saying it. there was a lot of love in the room and the back and forth, and it was great and just fun. And it was just this really, really nice marker with the new set that I've been out on tour with only since January. This is nothing. I had a couple people that didn't watch the last stand-up special, What a Day, on Netflix because they didn't want to ruin the show. But there's nothing from any of my specials that is in the act right now. I don't feel like you have to show them everything new, but I've just had this nice creative burst and everything is brand spanking new. So to take that new act and have it validated that it's in a good spot and it's really working, and then to be back in my hometown in a big way right off Broadway was really great. And I will shamelessly plug that the rest of the tour is on sale. We're going into London at the Leicester Square. We're going into Cincinnati. We've added second shows in Atlanta and in Chicago, and we're playing Grand Rapids. I think we just put some more on sale there. It's the tour has been just super fun, and we have a whole bunch of dates. We're pretty much booked through next year. So it was just a really good feeling and a really nice, and just to know that the act and the whole thing, the tour, everything, thanks to all of you as well, is in such a great spot. And I'm very, very, very excited to keep rolling for the rest of the year. So thank you all for coming out, and I hope to see you out there. My new book is coming out, We're All in This Together, so make some room. You can get it for pre-order right now, and we'll be bringing that out on tour. You know, I do book signings at the end of each show, and that's how I know all the people that are listening to this program, because you keep coming up and bringing bread. In Scranton, actually, we got a ton of food from listeners. We had homemade bread. We had bread from a bakery. We had a whole basket filled with chocolate-covered pretzels. We had people that knew that my anniversary was coming up and brought us some wine. It was just an amazing, amazing thing, and it really does feel, as corny as it sounds, a lot like a family. And I'm humbled and appreciate it more than I can say. All right. I'm also humbled that my good friend Alonzo Bodden has come back to the program. He is the greatest. I love talking to him. If you've heard him on previous programs, you know how great he is. Alonzo, what's Alonzo's website? AlonzoBodden.com. And Zo Funny on Instagram. Zo Funny on Instagram. And you have to see him live. He is a real artist, not afraid to speak his mind and go into new material every single night. He's just great. So now enjoy the great Alonzo Bodden. Again, it makes it seem like you want to be needed.
Yeah.
You want to feel like you're important and that you're needed. Mm-hmm. You know? And you can't... Once that stops, then you're done.
Yeah, but
right?
see, we told him, we said, listen, man, she's always going to be daddy's little girl, like no matter what.
Right.
There's always, you came first, you know.
Right.
So there's always going to be somewhere.
Yeah, and dad. He was he's the dad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He is the dad. Yeah. And then, they take over your role. Mm-hmm. Oof. That is rough. But there is that thing of, I mean, you have it with your dog. Like you now have someone who needs you.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. You have a big thing that needs you.
I don't know if I ever showed you this one. This sums up dog ownership 100%. You have one, so you'll relate.
I have two.
You have two.
Just for our listeners, Alonzo has a giant Great Dane. What's the name?
Hulk.
Hulk, that's right. I always forget that.
Mighty Hulk.
The Mighty Hulk, who just gave his testicles to science.
He did. They say that it is healthier for them if you're not breeding them. Mm-hmm. And
healthier for them or healthier for the neighborhood?
Well, someone told me. Someone said that they'll live years longer.
Years longer if they don't. Dog, you are my life. I will do anything for you. Human, drop the ball. Dog, nope.
Now, is that?
Oh my God, my
that
black
just
lab
sums it up.
100%. I love you. I love you. I love you. Give me the ball. No.
Nope. Not a chance.
I do this thing where I just go drop it, drop it, drop it, and she won't drop it, and then I pretend I don't care, and I turn my head, and she sees that I'm ignoring her, and then she'll drop it. And then I'll turn back, go for it.
Got it. Yeah, they're quick. They're quick. So I've had 3 dog trainers. One of them was excellent, and I lost her. She went back to her movie job. She trains animals for movies, so she's like a dog whisperer thing.
Those people are magic.
Yeah, they really are.
They really are.
And she said the dog knows I expect him to do that.
Yeah,
and it's like. Yeah, but I expect him. And she's like, no, you ask him to do it. I'm like, really? So, okay. But the other 2 haven't been that much. And the latest one, the whole thing is treats. So it's like, well, I can't carry a bag of treats in my pocket at all times.
I had a guy like that.
With the ball. They're like, well, give him a treat and they'll drop the ball. Yeah, okay. That's not really training. That's not training.
That's bribery. And yeah, we had the same guy. It might have been the same guy.
Yeah.
And he had just a pocket full of treats, and he's like, and then you make the noise. So you're like, and give him a treat, and then you do it without the treat, and that lasts like twice, and they're like,
well,
"You're
I'm
full
not
of
falling
it."
for that.
Right.
Yeah, I because when he, I have to give him these antibiotics, these 3 capsules, and he doesn't like them at all. And this is the funniest thing about my Dane. He's a picky eater. He's a 150-pound dog that's very picky about what he eats.
Really?
So I have this beef liver, they call it topper, it's a powder you shake on the food to make it taste. So I'm rubbing the capsules in that and then give them to him. That lasted for 2 days, and then he figured it out. He was like, nah, that's not a treat. Nah, I'm not falling for that anymore. So
They're so smart. What do you want to train? Why do you need a trainer?
The big problem he has is he's easily distracted. So you'll be walking, and some dogs he'll walk right past, and then other dogs he'll just leap and want to get it. So I just want him to ignore the other dogs, or ignore distractions. And they're like, well, if you keep giving him treats as he walks by, it's like, okay, first of all, that's only going to work a few times, because he'll just be like, nah, I don't feel like eating. I want to chase that.
Right, exactly.
And then also it's like, well, that's not training him.
The
guy on TV does it in a half hour, and the dog will ignore a nuclear explosion. I don't know who that guy is or what. That's the thing about those TV shows.
Yeah, they're
they always show, like, it's like the house building show.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, you can redo a bathroom in 45 minutes.
Right, exactly. My wife is always like, we should do that. I'm like, yeah, the whole world should do that.
Yeah.
We don't have magical powers. Yeah, we had the same treat guy, and that didn't work. It's hard to train these dogs. It also depends on how smart they are. Like, we have 2 dogs with vastly different brain capacity. We have this pug that just, there's nothing going on in its head at all. It's like a very low voltage watch battery. And then we've got the black lab, who's super intelligent and aware, and you can really, really train her, but there's always a limit, unless you're going to spend a lifetime with them. Like that thing, like when you walk through the neighborhood, my dog's cool with all dogs, but if it sees a dog that's like a golden retriever, who is its pal when we go away, she thinks like maybe that's another one, and just wants to lunge, just wants to. It's all playful, but the owner doesn't know that.
Right. And that's the thing with Hulk. He's not aggressive.
Yeah.
But he's big.
Right.
So when he leaps, it's a big leap. And there was one dog, a Husky, that would really drive him nuts. And my the good dog trainer, the pro, she said, yeah, Huskies are a problem. She said, because people shouldn't have Huskies.
Yeah.
Because they're made to work. And if they don't work, they get really bored and they become a problem. She's like, that dog is supposed to be pulling a sled for hours at a time. Like, do you know how much strength and energy that dog has?
Yeah.
Like, she's like that way with like the border collies and stuff. She's like, if you can't take them to the park every day and just let them run, they're going to start going nuts, and that's when they become a problem, you know? So
that's where the pug really thrives. It's pretty much a blood-filled throw pillow. He just does not care about going anywhere.
Yeah.
There's no energy you have to burn off.
Great Danes and Hulk really is like, a dog trainer told me to get a Great Dane. She's like, it's going to be perfect. She said, because they're low energy. They like, you give them 20 minutes of activity, that's followed by a 3-hour nap.
Right.
And that is exactly how we're like, before I came here to do this, took him to the park, walked him around the park, right?
Yeah.
But he gets back in the car and goes to sleep. He's like, all right, let's go home. Time for the afternoon nap, you know.
I love that.
Oh, it's great.
I love that in people.
Yeah.
I love that in animals.
Yeah, he has we have the same temperament. She's like, yeah, both of you are big, funny, and lazy. You'll be fine together. I'm like, yeah, that's my kind of dog. I don't need a terrier. You know.
My buddy Mike Fenoya, do you know him? Comedian out of New York, really funny. He just worked with me this weekend, and he either got his dog or the same thing. A dog whisperer. Like she trained. She has pictures of her with every like famous dog, pet, whatever, that was in movies for the last like 30 years. And he said the same thing, like just as soon as they walk in the room, the animal knows something one of me or something that's closer to me is here right now.
Right.
I don't have that connection.
No,
at all.
I mean, he'll listen to me, but it's like, and he is very smart.
Yeah.
You know, he's definitely
Are Danes
smart.
traditionally smart?
Yeah, they're pretty smart dogs. They don't know how big they are. That's what's funny about him. They have no idea. He will sit on you like he's a lap dog. He will, those are the kind of things. And sometimes he'll bump into stuff, and I'm like, that had to hurt. And it's like, no, just So they're funny in that respect.
Yeah.
But no, watching a real dog trainer, it really is fascinating.
Yeah.
What they can. And then I was reading this article. I guess this is a thing now. They have these, like, they cost between 50 and 100 grand, and the stars are buying them. They're protection dogs, and they come fully trained to listen to everything, and they protect you like it's
like a guard dog,
like a guard dog, but
shepherd.
not like a vicious guard dog. They're like a family dog. But if someone gets within a certain distance of the kids, the dog goes on high alert or whatever. Or if someone comes,
that
in
was
the
off
house,
of the LA break-ins, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's what it is, because they're following them home, and they're doing the what do they call it, the home invasions, and these so people are buying these dogs, and they say you can't get them. There's a waiting list because it takes like 2 years to train them.
Whoa.
But I saw a guy with a dog like that once. I'll tell you how long ago. I was at a barber shop. That's how long ago. But we're sitting in there, and he was showing us what his dog could do, and he'd say protect, and the dog would put its paw on you, and no one could come within 6 feet. Like the dog would just be, and then the minute they,
Wow.
But we're sitting in the shop, and he said car, and the dog walked outside, walked down the block, and just jumped in the car window and waited for him. And we're like, so you're a miracle worker.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And he did that. He trained dogs for a lot of stars and big names. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can learn it, but I think certain people have that vibe. Like my wife is more of that vibe than I. Like she comes home, the animals, wherever they are, the cat, the dogs, the lizard, everything comes out of its hole, and like Snow White, and they're like, she's back, and she just has this natural way.
You have to have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's funny, and this is annoying, the off-leash people, my dog is trained. It's like No,
Yeah.
if you yell his name 7 times and he's still not coming, he's not trained.
Right. Yeah, he's just off
You're
leash.
just yelling his name until he decides to walk back.
Yeah,
He's
even calling it off leash is not right.
Right.
They're just not on a leash.
Right. They're just running wild is
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Oh, they're off leash. What does Hulk like to eat? Does he eat any human food?
No, I've never given him human food.
Oh,
I
never.
don't want.
He doesn't
So,
beg then?
No, you have to train him, and this I did train him because Great Danes are table height.
Right.
See, his head would be right here without stepping up. So if
Right.
you don't train them to stay away from counters and tables,
Right.
they're just like, oh, have some of this. Oh, yeah, that
can
looks
eat
good.
everything.
Yeah, they can just eat without jumping.
Yeah.
And so he eats dog food, It's not even the super high end. It's like good, but not.
Yeah.
I don't do that whole raw diet,
No.
buy it in the freezer and prepare it.
Oh, my God,
I don't
no.
do that for me.
Right. I know exactly. I'm not chopping vegetables for a dog.
Right. So, but so he eats freeze-dried meat with his kibble and the topper on it.
Oh, that's good.
He's good with that.
Do you cook the meat or give it to him frozen?
No, it's not frozen. It's like in a bag. These freeze-dried.
Oh, freeze-dried.
patties.
Okay, gotcha. So you just throw that on there.
Yeah,
You must eat a lot.
he eats a lot.
It must shit like an elephant.
Well, it's funny because people comment on that. I guess he shits like a 150-pound person would.
Yeah, that could be big.
A couple times a day he drop. And, some mornings you get a 2-bagger. That's what I call it. You get a 2-bagger. Yeah, you get some on rare occasions a 3-bagger, but usually you get a 2-bagger in the morning and then a 1-bagger about twice after that. I walk him 4 times a day.
Well,
So we get 3 out of 4.
there are some times when my pug goes and it's so small and you're like, should I even pick it up? And you pick it up, you don't even know it's in the bag. But I feel like not doing it not that it would be disrespectful for the owner of the house. They'd never see it. But I feel like Frank, the pug, would be like, aren't you picking that up? You know what I mean? He's kicking his rear legs.
Yeah.
Like, I did a good job.
Yeah.
If I were to ignore it, I think it would just be a blow to his self-esteem.
They train us at least as much as we train them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That sense that they have. Like, they know when I stand up from the desk, if I'm just going in the other room or it's possible we're going outside.
Right.
They know the outside vibe.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm doing anything different. I'm just getting up from the desk. But they know, I don't know what I'm giving off.
They're creatures of habit, and Hulk knows time. Like 5 o'clock is we play,
Right.
walk, and then I eat.
Right.
Like between 5 and 6, and he knows it. No matter, he'll be laying around, and then right about 4:45, 4:50, he starts getting up, looking around, like, all right, enough of that computer stuff. Let's go.
Let's do the
and he
routine.
will put, again, because of his size.
Yeah.
He'll just come put his head on my desk. Just boom. Like, all right, I'm here. It's like, all right, I guess we're going outside.
It's amazing. So you got some time off the road for a bit.
Got some time at home,
Good
which
for
has
you.
been, it's been nice, man. It's been quiet. This year started out really busy because I was back on my jazz cruises, so that was all
Nice.
of January.
How are those?
I love them, man.
yeah?
It's phenomenal.
Is it with one particular artist or is it?
No, it's a ton of. It's one company,
Uh-huh.
Entertainment Cruise Productions. Okay, so they do. We have like straight ahead jazz. Then we had Blue Note, which is kind of contemporary jazz, and then smooth jazz. And it's a bunch of artists. The big one for me to meet this year, a woman named Samara Joy, who won Best New Artist Grammy. She's like this. They're like, oh yeah, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald. Like she's
Really?
that type of jazz voice.
Really?
So she was on the cruise, and then Robert Glasper, he's the host of Blue Note. He's phenomenal. And then the smooth jazz guys, Marcus Miller's, he's the one guy who plays with all of them. He's just a jazz genius. And, Jonathan Butler, Peter White, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But we hadn't been out for 3 years because of the pandemic. So this was the first one back.
Oh man.
And
that must have been fun.
it was a ton of fun. And then we did Bermuda. Did Did you do Bermuda JFL?
Yeah, I did it with you, I think.
Yeah, you did it. So
Like 10 years ago.
right. So that came back this year. That hadn't been done in about 3 years, right?
Was that fun?
Yeah, it was great.
That was a good gig.
Bermuda's nice. Like
It's
Bermuda
so
is
nice.
it's a quiet island that it's almost
clean.
like it's good not too many people know about this.
I know. You know what? Yeah, and it's not super warm year round.
Right.
Right? Because it's pretty much North Carolina out in the ocean. But it's one of those places where, like, you go to some islands, and Chris Rock had a great bit about it, where you're like driving through just poverty and Armageddon, like really rough. And it's kind of, and then you're at this resort. It's a pretty bad feeling. You need a couple drinks to forget about what you just drove through, and just to get the guilt to dissolve. But Bermuda, the whole island is just
they take a lot of pride in being an island nation. They're like, we're a country, and I guess during the pandemic, they're like, we're closed. If you're not, I guess for a while the airport was closed, so nobody was coming and going. And then when they opened it, it was like, if you're not Bermudian, you're not coming to Bermuda.
Right.
So it was in the news. They had like 5 cases of COVID and that made the news.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Like, we're keeping an eye on everything. So.
Oh, what a beautiful place.
It was a great. So
do you rent a moped when you're there?
Normally I do, but this time, man, I just kicked back. I was like, I don't even feel like going anywhere. I'm just hang around the resort and just go do the shows, and it just had a really relaxing vibe. So January and February were really busy. Now I'm home. At the end of this month, I'm going to Canton, Michigan.
Nice.
Which is right outside of Detroit, and I'm doing a show there. So
very cool.
That's it. So I've been home. Yeah, it's been kind of nice.
When you were on the jazz cruise, Samara, you said her name was?
Samara.
Was that the first time you saw her?
Yeah.
How was she?
Phenomenal. And I'm late to the party. You know? So the way I met her, Dee Dee Bridgewater, who I don't know if you ever heard of, she's super multi-talented. She's one of those people. Yeah, I've won a Tony and I've won Grammys, and I do everything, I act, sing, and whatever I do, I'm, so, and Dee Dee's been around forever. So they're talking, and Samara said, "Oh, hi, I'm Samara Joy," and she said, "I sing," right? That's all. And I had never heard of her, but Dee Dee's kind of telling her like, "Okay, this is how this works because you're about to be somebody. You need to know."
How old is she? Young?
She's in her early 20s, just out of college, So then they had a thing on stage where they had the singers on stage, and she started to sing, and I said, you sing. That's like Herbie Hancock saying, "Yeah, I play piano."
Right.
Like it was like everything stopped when she started singing.
Jeez.
And she's amongst Grammy-winning jazz singers.
Yeah.
But when she sang, everything was like just stopped. And she's
like
amazing.
Standards? Or?
Yeah, Standards, great.
Really?
And Christian McBride, who's another brilliant jazz guy, been around forever, he said, she doesn't even know how good she is yet. She's like, she's not doing her own stuff yet. Wait till, he said, in a few years, it's really gonna. So,
do you know where she comes from?
She comes from the Bronx, and she comes from a singing family. Her parents were musicians, and I think her grandparents had a big church choir or whatever. So
that's
she
great.
grew up. But the funny thing about it is she didn't start singing jazz, I don't think, until she got to college. Even though she had like the perfect voice for it. She said, I came from an R&B family.
Right.
And then when somebody heard her and said, you need to sing this. And, so she sings all these jazz standards.
That's amazing. When those cruises go out, how long are you out there?
Each one is a week.
A week.
So you do a week, and then some musicians stay, but most of them get off, and then a different batch come on.
And you get to stay the whole time?
Yeah, I'm there the whole time.
And you host the whole thing?
I don't host it. I host some shows, and I do some Q&As, and I do 2 comedy shows every week. And then, the vibe for each cruise is different. So on the Straight Ahead Jazz cruise, it's a very laid back. It's kind of like jazz trios and quartets and
I love that.
This and that, and so there's not a lot for me to do on that one. I do a couple of shows.
Yeah.
Then on the Blue Note, which is more how do I explain it? It's contemporary jazz. These are the guys who are pushing jazz right now. So there's what's going on with them a lot. There's a lot of hip hop, and like there's a guy named Terrace Martin who comes on, and he does Kendrick Lamar's music.
Right.
But his love is jazz. So so it's a lot of that. So
That's
the energy
cool.
of the cruise changes to where now I'm more involved and I'm clowning around with these guys, doing interviews and talking with them, and it's fun. And then we move to
I'm sorry, but to go back, when you do the straight ahead jazz, they don't want to clown. They're like so serious.
it's not that they're serious. You know who's on the straight ahead jazz cruise? The people who grew up with jazz as their music.
Right. So they're a little older.
They're a little older,
Right.
yeah. And that's what they listened to on the radio.
Yeah.
That was their thing.
Right.
So
And they just hold it in such high regard. It's just
and they say that, whatever music you grew up with, like that's your music.
Yeah.
At any age, that's still your music.
Yeah.
So they're listeing to it.
True.
They're listening to it the way we'd probably listen to stuff from the 80s.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, as much as I love all different kinds of music, and I always want new, I always want to be introduced, and I love it. But then something happens when, like, Van Morrison or Van Halen comes on that just happens to your spinal cord.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you're back in 8th grade in someone's basement.
Yeah, they say that's what music takes you back to. It's an emotional memory to when you were listening to this music, and that's what you connect to.
They say it breaks people out of like their catatonic late stage dementia state.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be the one thing you do remember.
Yeah, it's so wild.
So and then the Smooth Jazz Cruise, they've been doing that cruise for almost 20 years. So it's almost like it's definitely a party, and it's almost like a reunion every year. Like a ton of people do it every year, and it's just the difference with that one is the artists share bands. So rather than each artist having its own band, they have like 3 bands that back up everybody.
Right.
So now the headline artists get to play with each other with this band, or just have these impromptu jazz jam sessions, you know. And for example, there's a I don't know if you're familiar with Take 6. You ever hear Take 6? It's a 6-man a cappella group. They've been around forever. Their voices are amazing.
I don't know them.
So
Like
Michael
pentatonics,
McDonald,
but more jazzy.
yeah. So Michael McDonald was on. So it turns out Take 6 loves Michael McDonald.
Sure.
So now he's singing with them as the background, and and it's one of those things like, well, you'll never see this because they'll never be in the same room together like this, and so
That's cool.
You have moments like that, and then they bring in big headliners. Like this year, they brought in Vanessa Williams, who just she didn't stay on the ship; she just got on while it was in port to do her thing, and then so
that's cool. So then you get to go and do stand up and Crush, and then hang out and then do one
out
later
with them,
on.
and the other thing that's really cool is that, like, when I improv, because I improv a lot of the shows, they're like, man, it's like jazz, so when you have somebody like Marcus, who played with Miles Davis and has won multiple Grammys and this and that, and he's telling you, man, I wish I could do what you do. Really? Because I'm just here telling some dick jokes. You gotta,
I know.
You've changed people's lives.
But God. But there is that thing.
It's that mutual appreciation, man, and I love it. And just what I love about jazz, like, versus other music, is the creativity, right? Because jazz, they're always like, what else can we do? They're always pushing the envelope and they master their instrument, and then start playing. It's like, and he told me that there would be things like there were bars and clubs up in Harlem back in the day. Like, when you walked in, that was the test. They were like, all right, let's see what you got.
Right.
And they were like, you got to play right now. And they'd have tracks, things like, there's a song Cherokee that's really hard and really fast, and they would play it. And if you couldn't keep up, they were like, we'll see you later.
Amazing.
It was, but that was the tradition, and that's how you got in.
Yeah, that's amazing. There is a thing that like, there's a certain, like, comedy to you is natural.
Yeah.
Music to them is natural. So, and even though like you know what you know about comedy, you see it in some other form, it looks like a magic trick.
Yeah, yeah.
When they see you doing crowd work or just riffing, they think it's a magic trick, but they don't know that at that moment you're more comfortable than you've been all week.
Absolutely. That's what my therapist said. My therapist said, if I could get you to be the guy you are on stage all the time, I'd be done. Well, no, that guy only lives there.
Have you ever searched your name on a search engine? If not, you may be surprised by the amount of personal information available online about you. Your full legal name, email, home address, phone numbers, and more can easily be found online. And this isn't just true for you, but also for your friends and your family. Your personal info is out there for anyone to find, and data brokers scrape public tax records and sell that information legally, making it accessible to anyone. So we're thrilled to partner with Aura. Aura is an all-in-one online safety solution that helps protect you and your family from identity theft, financial fraud, and online threats before they happen. With Aura, you can rest easy knowing that someone is looking out for you. The app scans the dark web to look for your email addresses, passwords, social security numbers, and other sensitive information. If anything is found, you'll receive an alert in real time. Aura also helps reduce annoying robocalls, telemarketers, and junk mail by sending takedown requests on your behalf regularly. For a limited time, Aura is offering our listeners a 14-day trial plus a check of your data to see if your personal information has been leaked online. It's a great service, all for free, when you visit aura.com/papa, P-A-P-A. That's aura.com/papa to sign up for a 14-day free trial and start protecting you and your loved ones. Your whole family is involved. That's A-U-R-A, aura.com/papa. Certain terms apply, so be sure to check the site for details. Time to protect your information. Thank you to Aura. What is the difference? Like, what is your...
The comfort level.
Yeah.
Zero self-consciousness and being totally in the moment.
Right.
You know how it is. When you're on stage, and it was advice I was given early on and really said, you don't think when you're on stage.
Right.
You're just there and you're just doing it, right?
Yeah.
You're not thinking, how do I improv this joke or what? Because if you tried to do that, it would be horrible.
Yeah. No, you're just in the moment.
Yeah, you're just in the moment and you're reacting and
when you're
in life,
yeah,
you have to really be confident to do that in life.
Yeah. Well, you also have the free time.
Right.
To sit and let your dumb brain noodle around about all the dumbest shit that's going to make you feel shitty.
Yeah, exactly. It really is funny how we, what does my friend Matt say? He says, yeah, this never ends well. This doesn't end well.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's like, no, it's not going to end well. Left up to me, left up to my devices, this doesn't end well. Even when it does, you're still like, nah, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
There's something else is going to happen.
Yeah. There's too much space. Do you have, this is a dumb question, but because it's the total opposite of what you are on stage, do you have low self-esteem in your life?
Oh, absolutely.
You do?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
so funny.
I'm not this big, strong guy, and I'm the little guy inside who's. It's probably a. I don't know if it's a not like me. Mm-hmm. It's more like I'm not the guy you think I am. I'm not as confident or whatever as I look. And then,
right.
And the other thing is, I've been around people who are the best at what they do. So it makes you like, I'll give you an example. Playing basketball, right? growing up, I played basketball. You know, I didn't play for school, but I did play, and I played a lot. And I played with some guys who were pretty good, right? But in my neighborhood where I grew up, everybody was like 6 feet was like the minimum. Like everyone was 6 feet tall. It wasn't a big deal to be 6 feet tall and this and that. And we're playing ball and this. So then I leave the neighborhood and I come out here and I go to work at Lockheed and they have like corporate teams. And suddenly like, man, you're good. And I'm like, oh, because the guys who I played with, I wasn't that good. Like these guys went to play Division I college ball, so you don't think you're good. Then you leave, and then you get in another situation. But in my mind, I'm still the guy who wasn't as good as the guys I grew up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I got to play with some NBA players and really found out how not good I am. Then you find out, oh, that's a different game that those guys play.
It's a different.
But again, it's like you said, it's like that with comedy, right? Because I think in comedy, you develop a confidence. You know, you develop I know I can make them laugh. And that's why that's at home, because I don't have to think about that. Now I'm seeing what I could do. Now there are certain comics who push me, who bring out the best, because I don't know. It's not even, competition's not the right word. It's just kind of a
inspiration.
That's a better word. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's even when you're really good at this, you don't think you are.
No, because
there's, I mean, on one level, but on another level, you're still like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's something, because we're always looking for it, right? And it's like golf. Like you hit one shot and you hit that one right. You didn't even feel the ball hit the club, and you're like, oh, that's the shot. And then, well, you're not going to do that again.
No, and then you're muddling and awkward. And yeah, right.
And in comedy, you'll hit that one joke or that one bit, and you'll be like, man, I want everything to be at that level.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's so strange because like people from the outside like get off comedy, like just you saying like I'm not what people think. When you see like a big, strong, confident guy, and they have no idea inside is like this little kid.
Yeah.
I wonder, I mean, we all kind of feel that. I don't know if certain people, I think everybody feels it, but I think some people are better at hiding it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think some people are aware of who they are, and that allows them to do, but it's like a Prince. Like Prince, you know what I mean? Like I don't think Prince was not confident, but he wanted to create, but he knew he had this talent and ability within him, and he wanted to make the most of it.
But I bet he had self-doubt. I bet even though he knows he's Prince and he's putting out this music and he's trying, but there's that elusive thing that always kind of humbles you at times.
Yeah,
you know
maybe.
what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel like the better the artist is, the more they kind of carry that, even though they'll have all this success.
Maybe, but only with themselves. You know, because like they said, like Prince got booed opening for the Stones, right?
Right.
But he didn't quit. Like, you know how good you have to know you are to, like, there's 20,000 people booing and you're like, yeah, you're all wrong. Yeah, you know, there's 8 people there. Like now, of course, everyone's going to lie and say, well, I knew. But at that time, there were 8 people there who were like, wow, this guy is amazing.
Yeah.
And the rest were in the masses, you know. And I think in comedy, there's a few people like that, like Dave Chappelle. I mean, it always comes back talk about him, but I think he knew that even when he talked when he got his presidential award or whatever, and I don't know if you saw that show where he talked
Mark
about
Twain.
his mother told him he was, what is it, the griot, the storyteller from Africa and this and that. Like,
right.
Do you know how great you'd be if your mother told you, yeah, you're destined to do this?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what we didn't have. That is an amazing thing to
hear,
to hear and to grow up with. to have somebody, because what do we have? All right, you need something to fall back on. You better have a real job.
Right. Right. Get a degree just in case.
Yeah. So, and I think that helped make him who he is, because his whole life he I don't know if he knew it is the right word or was supported in it or whatever. And so you see people like that, or like Tiger Woods, who at 3 years old, his dad was like, yeah, you're going to be the greatest golfer ever. And it's great when it works. Now, if it doesn't work, you're a horrible parent. That's the thing about that, right? The Tiger Woods or the Williams sisters, like when it doesn't work,
right,
you're a horrible parent. But when it works, it's amazing.
Yeah. I bet it works 9 times out of 10, though. Not that you become the Williams sisters, but you probably achieve more than you probably would have.
Yeah, and you have a confidence about you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I think the insecurity and the lack of confidence, like you say, that drives you to be better.
Oh yeah.
That
unsettled.
I mean, they said that with Michael Jordan, right? That he always looked for something to push him, anger him, or
mostly out of anger. It turned out,
but he needed something that would make him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because there's definitely that you need that kind of that curiosity, that fear, that thing that keeps you striving, keeps you going for it. And the flip side of it is when that makes you feel lesser than, and you actually don't own it. Like you've seen people in comedy that are not that great who seem to own the
level of confidence of bad comics is fascinating to me.
It really is.
It's the crowd. No, not every night. Can't be. No, and that's a funny thing when you see people, but it works.
But it works.
It works, especially in Hollywood. In Hollywood, it's perception.
Yeah,
and you have people acting like stars, and then they suddenly treat them like stars, and nobody stops and says, "Wait a minute, they're not really that good."
Like if you could have a little less humility, you could actually play that
a little
game.
more humility, a little less confidence. More, because I used to always tell my agent, I said, listen, man, you need to find out, how do bad actors get work? Stop sending me in where I recognize people. There's nothing worse on an audition for me than when I recognize people. I'm like, well, this is what you do.
Right.
I know who you are. Like,
why are you here?
Send me where the bad actors get. Where I want to be one of those guys where they're looking at the movie. How did he get the job? I want to be that guy. That guy has a great job.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Hey, Joey. Alonzo's here, and he's at a table called Breaking Bread, and it looks like we've completely just forgotten about Alonzo.
That'd be a subtle hint.
Yeah,
there,
Joey, the bread. Oh my God!
Joey's doing his.
What do you mean we say the bread? Good Lord! In front of the company. Do you like regular bread or do you like olive bread?
I'll go with regular bread. Is this also Tom Papa bread?
This is not. I just came home last night from New York.
Oh, okay.
So
it'll still be good, but
this is my favorite. This is Lodge bread, which is the best in LA.
All right.
And I get that to fill in the gaps because they've been on the show before. They're amazing.
I will try it.
And that is your bread. I apologize.
No,
for that.
you're
Joey
good.
Grew up in a way. He who knows who raised him?
Yeah. His parents weren't.
No.
They had better ones.
Better kids.
Yeah. They had.
And then Joey came along and they're like, we can't help this guy out. Yeah. No, there you go. I apologize.
No, thank you.
Now, what will you do with bread?
I will eat it. I'm not.
Do you cook for yourself?
No.
You don't. You order in.
Yeah.
Every night.
Not every night, but
the only night you don't.
I don't order in. I go out to get the food. I will not be so lazy as to just stay home. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, at least I'm doing that. I'm going to get it.
That's so funny because I cook a lot, but when I don't cook, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
I want them to come.
No, I'll go get it.
You will.
Also, when they bring it, I don't know if it's going to be cold or how long it's going to take
You don't
to
trust
get
them.
or whatever. Yeah. When my ex, when she was living with me, she ordered a pizza. and the guy delivered the pizza. And when he got to the door, Hulk barked. And, you know, when a Great Dane barks, you know it.
Yeah.
And the pizza was simply left on the top step with a trail of smoke going down the stairs. Oh, that was funny. She said, yeah, I opened the door. The guy wasn't even there. He just took off. I was like, yeah, that's a big bark. You know? But,
How long did she live with you?
We lived together for about 9 months, 8-9 months,
Wow.
which shocked everyone who knows me because I'm just not the relationship guy. I mean,
Yeah.
you know that.
Yeah.
It wasn't. The problem was it was too soon in the relationship. Like the pandemic happened and this and that. We just kind of fell in, understand, and
Oh, I see.
we weren't there yet. I think that was a problem.
Circumstances brought
Yeah.
you into the house together. Right.
So
What was the hardest part of just having, not to attack her, just
it's
having
okay.
another
It's
human,
okay.
just having another human being
you know,
in your space?
It's your habits,
Yeah.
your habits and your space. That's the
Yeah.
part.
You've always, to me,
kinda-
seemed like a very independent guy. You do your own thing, your own pace. You have a motorcycle. You're by yourself on the
A
bike.
friend of mine who I've known her, getting old now, about 30 years, and she said, the toughest thing about you is you don't need anybody. She said, and when women come across a man who doesn't need them, they don't know what to do. She's like, what do I do? He's self-sufficient. He can do his own laundry. He feeds himself. What, you know? And it's like, yeah, I want the companionship, but you don't have to. And I appreciate it. I mean, that stuff is nice.
Yeah.
But it's like my brother's wife, when they were dating, he would call me to tell me what she cooked. She's like a great cook, and he'd be like, man, we've just gone to the movies, and there was a meatloaf with you know, sweet potatoes and this and that, and then she made a pecan pie, and he's like, man, and I was like, yeah, she figured it out. She got you.
Yeah,
Every time you
absolutely.
come to the house, there was a meal. She got you. You know,
Absolutely.
and with me, it's
There's
like,
a value to that.
I'm like, I already ate. You know? What?
What is
It's
your?
me.
Do you eat
It's
fast
just
food?
Not often.
No.
When I have a burger, it's from a better place. Like it's not
Like
a
an
McDonald's
In-N-Out?
or whatever. It's In-N-Out or one of those kind of burger places. I mean, I'll eat fast food on occasion, but like I'll go to Sharky's, not Taco Bell. I'm at you know, Tom, we're both at the age you can't do Taco Bell.
No.
There's a certain age you hit where you're like, okay, I can never eat Taco Bell again. My body is like, and I'm not one of those super healthy eaters or whatever, but my body's like, all right, listen.
No, they're
We're
definitely.
going to cross Taco Bell and Jack in the Box off the list forever. Okay.
Yeah, I have the same thing with eating late after a show, which is always such a hard thing to not do because you're done, you feel like you get a reward, but age will actually stop you from doing that too, because laying down and sleeping an hour after you've eaten is going to do foul things to your system. It's gonna be a throat level for a while.
And that's the thing about our job, right? Our job is not conducive to health. You know, because,
no, it's not.
Because you like you said, you finish. You don't want to eat before the show because then you're just sluggish and lazy on stage.
Yeah.
So now you finish the shows and you want to eat, and then depends on where you are. You know, last
What your
summer
options are.
I was in St. Paul, Minnesota. There's no place open after 10.
Right.
There's like one diner.
Right.
And everyone is there. Everyone in St. Paul is at the diner. People from the show, everybody was there. We were like, me and this guy Phil, we were like, man, this is it. You know, so but they don't tell you that. You know, it's one thing like place say, hey, they're like, okay, order your food before the show and put it somewhere because after the show nothing's open. So you learn that. And I remember me and Hef were somewhere in Pennsylvania. I don't know where it was, but we finished the show, and the only place to eat was like a Hooters off exit 47. Like that's where you had to go. And nothing against Hooters, but there's a time for Hooters, and there's
11 o'clock at night.
there's a time when you like if you want to eat food, you can't go to Hooters, but like that's all that's open. You know?
Yeah, sometimes the only thing you get is a gas station.
Oh yeah, that was
which actually. That kept me from fast food my whole career. Yeah. When I realized, I can get like nuts and treat myself to a small pack of Nutter Butters, and like I can make a meal out of a gas station anytime. Yeah. And it's actually better for you than rolling into...
Well, that was my, joke about the vaccine. People like, I don't know what's going in my body. I was like, I've eaten gas station hot dogs. All right. So there's nothing you can put in my body. My body's not afraid of anything you have. Go ahead.
That's right.
Give me the shot.
Yeah. Just rotating under a fluorescent light.
Right. When you eat a burrito in a place where there are no Mexican people, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm in Wichita. I'm gonna have this burrito. Yeah, okay.
Are you sweet? Are you salty?
Horrible. No.
Greasy.
Horrible chocoholic. There's another one.
Right.
Okay, so there's another one. You talk about unknown things. Man, I have a problem with chocolate. Like when women talk about, I feel bad and I eat chocolate. Like it's like, yeah, I know what you mean. And like they never believe it. Like, no, I know what you mean. I get into self-hate and then I got to eat a bag of chocolate. And it's like, yeah, I do that too. I don't know where I learned it.
What is your go-to chocolate?
Chocolate covered peanuts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not peanut M&Ms?
No.
That doesn't do it. That's not enough chocolate.
That's not enough. You got to have just a straight chocolate over your peanut. Just
dark or milk?
Milk.
Really?
Yeah, dark chocolate's okay. Dark chocolate's good with an almond. But with
a
peanuts,
pretzel, nice dark chocolate on a pretzel.
Yeah, with peanut though, you got to do the milk chocolate, and it's just not good. And I'll stay off of them for a while. It's really like a drug. Like I'll stay off of them, and then I'll be like, yeah, they're right there.
You start getting itchy.
Right there. I just got to have one.
When you break and you buy a bag, how big is the bag?
It's that little plastic. What is it like? 8-ounce thing, that little plastic tub they sell them in. It's one of those, and that might make it for 2 days. That might last 2 days.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's not bad. What is your go-to thing that you order for dinner?
I don't know that I have one. I love Italian food, but it's not an everyday thing. No, I mix it up. I like. I'm a meat person, so I do have meat most meals. I mean,
like
when
barbecue?
I say meat, it could be chicken, it could be or fish. Used to be a great fish place near where I lived, and then they changed up their menu, and it's like, oh, you're not a great fish place anymore. you were a great fish place.
A bad fish place is not a good anything.
No.
A great fish place, you have to be. If you're going to be a fish place, actually, you better be great.
Yeah, but my meals center around that, and then, I like vegetables and stuff. Like I'm not a big French fry person. I'm not crazy about fries.
Oh man,
I'll eat some, but I'm not crazy about them. And again, it's not a health thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing. So I prefer, like, if I can get a burger and a salad, that's a good meal. Or a sandwich, a hot sandwich I like. And then deli.
And no chips on the side of the sandwich.
Sometimes I'll do the chips.
Sometimes.
Especially if they're those homemade kettle chips, like the place.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like,
but that's kind of fry adjacent.
I know, it's like fries. But,
yeah.
And then delis, a good deli I like, because they have that, they have 300 things on the menu.
The best.
Those New York style delis where it's like,
I love those.
We make everything.
Yeah. What fascinates me about those places is you're looking up at this gigantic board, and whatever you say, the guy's cool with it.
Yeah.
He's never like, wait, how do I do that?
Right.
He's just
so whatever you want, I can. If I don't have it there,
I'll the Greek special number 12 with extra peppers and tahini. Okay, you got it. Boom.
Yeah. You mentioned barbecue. How is barbecue not healthy? People say barbecue is not healthy. Like,
I know.
It's a meat. It's a vegetable. This is good for you. What do you mean it's not healthy?
Fat,
it's
greasy,
grilled,
in a sauce that's mostly sugar.
Yeah, but come on, they grilled it. It's not fried. Stop it.
What are you riding now? What's your bike?
So I just bought. I'm waiting for it to be delivered. A Honda Valkyrie.
Really?
Which is the Goldwing without the bags. And everything. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. And I ride a BMW Cruiser and a BMW touring bike, and I've gone fast for a long time, so now I don't have to anymore. Now,
right?
Comfort.
No more crotch rockets.
Oh no, my knees don't fold up like that. Like I see Ducatis, and I love a Ducati's like a 25-year-old woman. It's like, oh, that's beautiful. I will not be riding that. No,
I'll just embarrass myself if I even go near it.
Nobody needs to see that. The aftermath will not be good. There's gonna be knee pain.
It's gonna be depressing. I know who I am.
So I love them. And I'm glad I went through that, era and had super fun going fast and doing racetracks and stuff. But now I like comfortable bikes and cruising, and it's meditative to get on a bike and just get a little out of town. And that's the great thing about Southern California. Like in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you don't know that LA exists. You're in the hills and it's just quiet and peaceful. And I've come up with tons of material that way because my mind just opens up.
Right. God, I do miss
But
it.
also what you said about not sitting in traffic and not worrying about parking, I'm so used to that.
Yeah.
That if I drive, I'm going to be late.
Right, of course. Yeah, your math is all off. Like by like 45 minutes.
Yeah, and this new thing where LA has become Seattle is driving me nuts.
Oh yeah, you've been in the rain.
Oh man, it's just ridiculous.
It's been a rough winter.
Today I was going there's a park out in Malibu I take Hulk to, and so I was on Mulholland and it's closed in all these sections. They're clearing mud.
Jeez.
They got the bulldozers out there and they're moving the mud and the big rocks and stuff, and then they're like, oh yeah, and it's going to rain again tomorrow.
I know.
Like, okay, stop praying. You people praying for rain, stop it.
It worked.
It worked. All right. You got
Yeah. I love how we're like in this mega drought and people are like, please stop this.
Yeah.
I don't need any more rain.
And yet that's how LA is that. It's like, okay,
totally.
We wanted rain. Okay, we've had enough. Now
we're
stop
good.
it. Now we need to go back.
In 75 degrees. Do you ever go on long trips on the bike?
Yeah,
you do?
I did cross country once, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And I've gone up and down the East Coast, up and down the West Coast. The only thing I haven't ridden, I call it our backyard. I haven't done the Grand Canyon or Death Valley. Rides that you would think living in LA would be the first ones you do. I haven't done those, which I definitely want to do. Yeah. And this year would be a good year to do Death Valley because it's never going to get hot. It's I don't know what's happened.
Cynthia and I did cross country and did Vegas, Death Valley, or Grand Canyon, Vegas, Death Valley. Oh,
nice. That's nice.
It was really nice, but we like left Vegas way too late. We partied in Vegas and left at like noon. So it puts you in Death Valley. Like it was not good. It was really like, this is death for a reason.
Riding in that kind of heat, I tell you, it's like having a blow dryer on high in your face. Like when the wind is hot, that's when it's hot.
So hot. And you don't want to peel off leather because it's your protection.
Right. Arizona is nice. Like right after that monsoon, like you know how they always have that big afternoon rain.
Yeah.
The hour after that is perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, the rain has cooled it off, and now
it's the
best.
You
dry instantly, like you ride through the rain because as soon as the sun comes out, I'm dried off. It's Phoenix. It's a blow dryer.
There's no, because I rode for a long time, and then when I came out to LA, it was synced up with my career and my daughter being born. So it was like I just pushed the bike into my brother-in-law's garage and that was it. And when I'm in LA, I'm like, this is an insane place to ride.
It is a living game of Frogger. And I mean,
you get better at it.
Yeah, I've been doing it for so long that you develop this anticipation. But again, when you get a lesson when you're young, this guy said, yeah, man, ride like everyone's out to kill you.
Right.
And I was like, that's the best advice I ever got. Because especially now, the phones add two things added levels of danger: telephones and Teslas.
Because you can't hear them?
You can't, not only can't you hear them, I assume the person isn't driving.
Right.
Because on the freeway, and you've been on a bike, you can see in cars.
Right.
People in Teslas, it's like driving isn't even in the top 5 things they're doing. They're along for the ride because he told them that it had an auto drive.
Well, but
then they're like, it's not auto. It's like you can't tell people it's automatic driving and then pull back on
He
that.
should have called it driver assist.
Once you told them that it can drive itself, they're like, well, then I can eat with 2 hands, or I can work on my tablet or whatever else. And so on a bike, when I see a Tesla, I just assume, okay, they're not driving.
Right. Yeah. I mean, anytime someone gets in an accident in one, they didn't have their hands on the wheel. They weren't really, they were letting the thing do it. But you are right, being told that.
Yeah, you know, and then the other accident, is when you're on a straight section of the road, it's dry, there's nothing else, and someone hits someone, like you were on the phone.
Right.
Because there's no other reason you wouldn't see this other car.
You're looking down.
You were on the phone and you plowed into them.
Yeah.
And some of them are, pretty bad. I mean, it's
the drift.
I don't know. I don't know what the I don't know how we're going to stop that. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think you are.
They stopped drunk driving, right? It took a lot of work and a long time, but now drunk driving is kind of unusual. I don't know what the solution is going to be for tech driving.
I think that there absolutely has to be the technology that disables your phone in the car.
Yeah.
Like that you know you can't program the GPS in your car, that kind of, like, it could be done.
Right.
But the outrage and the loss of money would be so great. There's no one's going to do it.
No one's going to do it. It's
you got to like almost hope the next generation is just better at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Than all these old people trying to.
Or it'll be so integrated that you can't.
Yeah.
Like it'll be integrated to the point where you just say what you want to go or whatever.
Right. The tech gets better.
And Apple, I don't even know. Like you ever look something up on Yelp and then you get in your car and it pops up on navigation? Like, how did you know?
Yeah.
Like you guys are I love these people like, oh, they're not monitoring. It's like they're monitoring you. They're monitoring everything.
Everything.
And here's the thing. They don't care about you. Okay, the government's not out to get you because you work at Ross. Yeah.
Right. No, it's so in tune that you don't even have to look it up. You just say it. We're in a conversation talking about Taco Bell.
Right. And then,
something's going to pop up on one of our phones. Yeah, 100%.
I do these videos for the Young Turks, these news videos, and make fun of it. And sometimes they send me these stories.
Uh-huh.
And I hate it because I have to look up something that I don't want on my phone. You know, like there was this thing about, as you know now, the drag queens. Like, it's always funny to me what the latest group is that's going to destroy America. Right. So for some reason, the drag queens are doing it now. So there was this thing about it, but it talked about how they're talking about influencers and stuff, right? So it also talked about those kids' beauty pageants and, the babies in bikini. And I'm like, I don't want because the moment I can't click on little girls in bathing suits. Now it's in there.
Now I'm a part of an investigation. Now when the cops come, I'm
like, you ever seen the Young Turks? Like, no, I'm in handcuffs because I'm a single man with no kids who looked up little girls in bathing suits. That's why I said it on your podcast. So you're going down with me. You're going down with me, Tom.
Oh, great. Let me be clear. We are all about MILFs on this program. Not even close to being a problem.
Right.
We 30 years
Gilfs.
beyond.
Gilfs. I'm looking at Gilfs now. I'm like, oh, look at you. That's 2 generations of beauty under you. But it's that part of technology is funny. And then they've offered me, a few different people have offered me because you can get it in your helmet now. You get Bluetooth in your helmet.
Right.
And I'm like, and one had a heads-up display.
Oh, God.
I'm like, are you kidding? Like, no. I don't want to talk to you on the phone.
That's the whole reason.
I don't want to look through my face shield and see your head up. I'm not a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
I want to see the idiot, making a left turn in front of me.
Right.
I don't want to be reading my gauges.
Yeah, distant from
now
it.
Now I'm as bad as him.
Yeah.
So technology, and this is another thing. Maybe I'm old, but I'm kind of like, no, man, simple. The last bike I had all this tech stuff on it, and it didn't work. And you just keep getting these error messages popping up, and you got to take it back to the dealer and this and that. And after the second time, I said, listen, man. He said, no, man, it's okay. I'll buy it back. I sold it back to him. I was like, I don't want this bike. This is too much.
It's too much
technology. You're waiting for things to sync up, and this is like, no, I want to ride.
Do you use GPS on the bike?
Yeah, I have one bike that has GPS, but it's the old school GPS unit, which works great. Like,
right.
Just plug in where you're going. But I don't use my phone. A lot of people have the phone connect,
like a CarPlay thing.
Yeah. And I don't use that.
Yeah.
They have mounts where you can mount your phone to the handlebars. I tried it once, and the thing about a phone, it's constantly picking up Wi-Fi everywhere you go, so it keeps popping up different. And they said you got to shut that off and do that. I said, you know what? How about I just look where I'm going?
It's crazy to think that I gave up the bike before GPS.
Yeah.
Like it was just starting to emerge, but it wasn't, it was still MapQuest time.
Yeah, I think we might be the last generation that can read a map.
Yeah. That's what you would do. You would plot it out and memorize it and go out on your bike.
Give one of your kids a Thomas guide.
It'd be like giving them the Declaration of Independence.
You know what they do? They feel sorry
Ancient
for
scrolls.
you. Like, oh, Dad, you had to use this? Yeah. Oh,
They would think you were so much older.
I love when they're kind of condescending to you.
Yeah.
You had to use stupid technology or knowing it all.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You know what my daughters are doing now? They're passive aggressive, trying not to call me old and shitty, is when I talk to them, when we FaceTime and I hold my phone, invariably, every time I'm doing it, they just look at me, the look of disgust on their face, and they're like, "You're covering your microphone."
Yeah.
No, I'm just holding. And you can, it's that thing like you have with your parents. You're just like, I don't want to call you an idiot, but you're an idiot. You're covering your microphone.
I was reading somewhere that some guy said he knew it was bad when his kid said to him, "Dad, you were born last century."
Oh,
ouch! Ouch! Right? Because now, if you could be born in
brutal.
2000, you're 23 years old.
I know, it's so insane.
You're from last century.
Oh, it's brutal.
It's worse when they tell you. Like I have a niece, and she would tell me everything that I'm doing wrong with the phone, and I bought her phone. I'm like, listen, without me, you don't have a phone to be an expert on. Okay. So let's slow down on how dumb I am.
Right, exactly. That's so brutal. All right, before you go, you're going to take the bread home.
Yes.
What are you going to do with it?
I am going to, I'll cut it up, and now I'm going to eat something tonight that will be bread appropriate. Maybe I'll get some pasta or something. I'm going to get something that bread is an appropriate side. And I'll have just bread also.
Do you have butter? Do you have butter in the house?
Yeah, another thing, I'm not a butter eater.
Don't like butter?
I like
olive oil?
toasting the bread. Sometimes I'll do a little oil, but a lot of times
what goes
just
on
the
your
bread.
toast? What goes on your toast? Just the bread?
Yeah, just the bread. The bread is good, man.
This bread's good for that. Mm-hmm. All right. I like it.
Man.
You're the best.
Tom,
I look forward to these all the time.
Fun. You're one of the great comics that I know. Like, you know what I mean? And
likewise.
We're guys we're still comics.
Right.
With everything else, and you know what I mean by that. We still love the art of stand-up. So it's always fun being with people who are like that.
Right.
Who respect what it is. So, it's always fun to catch up with you, man.
Always. And I'm sure.
So everyone just look for me at the Village Theater in Canton, Michigan, March 30th. Or 31st. I should know.
Where do you post all your stuff on social media? Or do you have a site?
I'm on ZoFunny on Instagram.
ZoFunny.
ZoFunny, and then AlonzoBodden.com.
All right, beautiful. Awesome. We got it, Aaron. Well, there you have it, kids. The great Alonzo Bodden. I hope he's safe out there on his motorcycle. I really do miss and envy the bike. Alonzo is good friends. Not good friends, but my father loves Alonzo, and he's run into Alonzo at bike events and things like that. And biker to biker, my dad's a big biker. Alonzo's a big biker, and I used to be, but then I had to bail. With living in LA and having kids and all the rest of it, I miss it, but I also know how insanely scary it is. But you know what it is? The longer you're away from it, the scarier it seems. Alonzo's dialed in. He knows what he's looking for. He's going to stay safe, and you kind of have a little more control over it. But the longer you're away from doing some activity like that, like the idea of doing it seems scarier than it appears to Alonzo. Either way, I'm jealous. I can pontificate and try and intellectualize all of it, but being on a bike by yourself and just your own thoughts up in these great roads, I know. And my father and Alonzo both look at me, and they don't say it out loud, but deep down inside, they're like, what did you do? What did you do? Thank you to Alonzo. Go to ZoFunny on Instagram and AlonzoBodden.com. Make sure you look up his dates. He's got that date coming up in Michigan, and you got to catch him live. He's always just great. Go to TomPapa.com. Look up all the tour and the new book. We're doing great. I mean, You're Doing Great was the last one. We're all in this together, so make some room, which is coming out soon. You guys are the best. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.